Welcome back to Investing and Trading Live, sponsored by Online Trade Academy. We've had a great week here talking about the financial markets. The market was a great mover this week. Some people are looking at the market saying, hey, well, it went down a little bit, especially at the beginning of the week. There's always opportunities in any direction with the stock market. And we've talked about a lot of that here in the show here today, about multi-directional trading with your trading strategies, whether you're looking for a shorter term income strategy, or even longer term wealth strategies, 401k, IRA. If you're short on retirement and need to have more, there's strategies to use what you have. Let's just say you have enough. There are strategies to protect that, but also even continuing to grow that during retirement time, there's ways to do that through multiple assets, whether it's options, futures, Forex, by using a small portion of your capital and keeping the majority of that protected. There's ways to do that. We talk about that a lot in these investing classes that people are coming into. We've had a great summer. I mean, I'll call it a summer already with a lot of people coming to these classes because I think a lot of people are realizing now is a great time to change their future. Now is a great time to change their life financially. And you have to get started somewhere. And that free investing class is where people have been coming into to do that. If you missed some of those tickets on the last segment, text the word investing to the number 210 for 2 seats for this class. When you text that in, you're going to get a text right back. I like to make it easy for you. There's a link in there that you're going to click, and that will bring you right to our landing page to pick your own date. By the way, you can do this all on your phone. You click the link, it brings you to the landing page to find a date that works best for you. We do these during the day. We also have these in the evenings, but also on the weekends. So basically, it's for anybody at any time. Well, the anywhere, it's right here in Bloomington. Local academy to go to learn how the markets work, how to trade and invest. So in that last segment, I was talking about inspiration. And sometimes you have to inspire people to do things differently because it's so easy to be status quo, to do the same thing over and over and over because it's comfortable.
Sure.
Now, hopefully some of the things we've been talking about here today have inspired a lot of people. I mean, we've had a lot of people texting in for this class, so it's been, people are inspired to do things differently. But sometimes people don't really know what trading and investing actually looks like. And I would say trading and investing, if you're a trader or an investor, it looks very similar to what your life looks like right now. Because a lot of people think you need to be glued to your computer screen and taking a whole bunch of trades and watching all of your trades. Well, that's probably the worst thing to do because, for one, it's boring, but it also creates emotions. So, Al, I want you to talk about a little bit about how trading actually works, the life of a trader or an investor, how you can actually set your trades up in advance and you let them work for you. That way you don't have to be at your computer and you can go do the fun things that you want to do because you're protected on both ends. Protection, right. You have stop losses, targets, and that way you keep your risks small. Odds and probabilities in your favor. Explain how that actually works.
Yeah. Okay, before I do that, I just want to make 2 comments on things that you mentioned in that last segment
again,
we talked about. I was listening. But we talked about the returns of the 401ks, maybe being 4 or 6%, somewhere in that range over the course of your lifetime. When you retire, remember this, a big portion of that return, that 4 to 6% a year, was money that you contributed and your employer contributed.
I'm glad you said that.
Your funds did not do that well. Now that you're retired, you're not putting money in, your employer's not putting money in, but you know what? The plan sponsor and the mutual funds are still taking money out. So this like somebody drilled a hole in the bottom of your wealth bucket and they're siphoning money out. One of the things that we talk about in these classes is how to get around that, how to not have the bad parts of that 401k impacting you now when you go into retirement. And then the other thing you mentioned, a lot of people don't do things because it's comfortable. It's easy just to put things off. Well, you know what? That comfortable attitude and result while you're young, when you retire, the results are not so comfortable based on what you didn't do because you put things off too long. So the earlier you start, the better. Now, let's talk about the day in the life of a trader. What does that look like? What do you have to do? Do you have to get up early in the morning and have 10 cups of coffee and sit in front of your computer all day and then switch to martinis and cigars in the afternoon? No. Maybe they do that in Hollywood. You shouldn't be spending, if you want to trade every day and you're spending more than a couple of hours doing it, you're overdoing it. You're over trading, overthinking, overreacting to things. One of the things I mentioned earlier in I think the first segment is you keep this simple. You don't have to do things that are complicated. That's what human beings do. They overcomplicate things. That's why it's so important to have a plan. But when you listen to the pundits out there, when you open your emails, or when you look at YouTube, maybe you're looking at somebody who has had a YouTube show for maybe a couple months, maybe a year, instead of like 26 years like we have been doing.
And by the way, we have over 742 episodes in this on our podcast.
On the show, right. But what we want you to do is keep this simple. Really, look at it more like how do you protect more of your time? How do you have more time to do the things that you want to do but still participate in the market? That's what we're going to show you how to do. When we talk about presetting a trade, the important thing that I mentioned earlier, and it really is the key, is the proper price. You have to identify on a price chart where price is going to move, where it has the highest probability of moving in the direction you want it to go, with enough movement to give you a profit, and then also with the least amount of risk at that particular time. Once you identify that, and that's what our strategy does. We have a strategy we show you. We show you how to look at a price chart, how to identify that price for you to enter or exit a trade, and then you just preset it. You basically tell your trading platform, okay, this is the price I want to pay for this number of shares. Get me in at that price. If I'm wrong, get me out at this price at a small loss. If I'm right, get me out at this price with a nice profit.
That brings a lot of comfort to traders and investors too, Al, because then you're not trying to do it quickly like a lot of people think.
Exactly. Then turn your computer off. Go out and have some fun. Enjoy your life, because every day that goes by is one fewer days that you've got left. So take advantage of them. Don't make yourself a slave to a computer screen thinking that the best way to do this is for you to watch it. Because if you do, your brain and your gut are going to tell you to do things that will negatively impact the results that you have. So
you're saying that a gut feeling doesn't do well in the markets?
No, a gut feeling is and your brain. Let's talk about your brain too. You overthink things. You don't have to be a genius to do this. All you have to do is have enough discipline to follow a set of rules that's part of the plan that we talk about for you.
I mean, that's a couple of things that we talk about in these classes on people that we're looking for.
Exactly.
You got to be coachable.
Right.
But you have to have some discipline, and then you just have to be decisive. And those two components right there can be taught. You can be taught how to be disciplined, and how you do that is a plan, which we talked about in the second segment, and then just being decisive, which means just clicking the button, because as Al is talking about, trading and investing is a click of a button away. The ease that we have to do it now, it's available to us. So that's the great thing about the markets being electronic now.
Yeah, and you need to have confidence in the strategy you're using. First of all, you have to have a strategy, but it has to be a strategy that gives you the opportunity to be successful. And it's a lot of people just look at the number of wins that they have as being the important thing. I need to have 80, 90% winning trades to be successful. That's not true. You can have 80 or 90 successful trades and still lose money. The real key is how much you win compared to how much you lose. And that's one of the things that we'll talk about all these things in this class, but the important thing is learning how to do this in a way that is best for you, that puts the odds in your favor of being successful and takes away the necessity of you spending time watching something. We'll show you how to make the proper entry in the first part of a trade, and then how to manage it without, again, dictating the fact that you have to use all of your time to do that. You don't. If you're doing that, you're going to make mistakes. So let's keep it simple and just put the odds in your favor of being successful.
Yeah, and just to kind of go a little further on what you were alluding to earlier about being right every single time, which you do not need to be. If a lot of people have probably seen those crazy YouTube videos. And by the way, be very careful with what you watch on YouTube. And they say, "Oh, I have a 90% win rate." Okay, that's great, but there are strategies where you can be 90% correct. But the problem with those strategies is you have one or two losers that wipe you out. And that's the problem with a lot of those YouTube shows is they just talk about win rate because it's sexy. People want to see, how great am I?
Yeah.
Well, if you want consistency in the market, I mean, you look at hedge funds, Wall Street, they're not 90% correct. And it's just having the proper risk management, the proper capital management to put the odds in your favor. And we get into all that stuff in these investing classes. Just text the word investing to the number 210 for an investing class here in Bloomington. And that's the benefit of a physical place to go.
Exactly.
Is strategies that are designed and came from Wall Street, and then how to trade like them, not against them. We go into that in these investing classes. We introduce you to all these concepts. Text the word investing to the number 210 for 2 seats for this class. Al, we've talked a lot about some great things. Last week was Memorial Day, and summer is here now. Let's hear today's OTA tip of the week.
Well, folks, it's when you stop thinking small that you start to achieve big things. The goals that scare you are the ones worth pursuing and will make you better once you go after them. It all starts with your mind. If you think positively and convince your mind that you can do something, then you're more likely to actually be able to do it. The only real limits that you have are the ones that you create inside your own mind.
I like that. Positive mindset will bring you positive results. And it's also being around the right people. If anybody that's ever read the book Think and Grow Rich, it's about being associated with the right people. And we have, mastermind communities here at the Academy, people that are trading different topic or different assets, income strategies, wealth strategies. Come check it out. We're a local place here in Bloomington, over 26 years online trading academy. Text the word investing to the number 210 for 2 seats for the class. As always, same time, same place next week. Until then, retire young, my friends.